All right. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Zilla, and this is Ancient Gaming, the stream where on almost every Saturday I play games with ancient studies content and talk about that. So today we are in part 3 of my stream of Stray Gods, the role-playing musical about Greek gods inhabiting new mortal bodies in the contemporary world. It is fabulous, and I hope you all are along for the ride. Feel free to say hi in chat. Let me know if anything isn't working, because it looks like it's working from this end. But I know that there have been issues in the past. OBS doesn't always like to play nice. Pardon me. So, a little bit about the game so far. First of all, if you're new and you want to not be spoiled, you can always check out the previous streams. I do upload them all to my YouTube channel, if you can see down below. It's Zillas_Athenaeum, or Zillas Athenaeum. And you can always check out the previous stream if you missed it. I do keep them up on Twitch for a couple of weeks. So, spoiler time, I'm going to start talking about what we've done to this point, so you can be caught up if you're just starting and you don't care. So we are playing Grace, the disaffected young singer in a band with her best friend Freddie, and she has mysteriously been stumbled upon by this woman Calliope, who sang with her, which was odd, and then died in her arms. She found out that she is the new embodiment of the muse Calliope of Greek mythology, an inspiration of song and poetry, and she is now embroiled in having to solve basically her own murder. So the Greek gods in the persona of their idols, that is to say their modern incarnations of Athena, Apollo, and Aphrodite and Persephone, are leading this council they call the chorus. There are other idols around, and she is going around trying to figure out what's going on. And thus far we have made frenemies with Pan, and friends with Persephone, who started out by hating us and clearly held a lot of affection for the previous Calliope. And we've also sort of befriended Apollo, although I think he's a little sketchy. With that said, let's continue. We are waiting on word from Persephone about what to do next. Here's Freddie at home.
Freddie. Have you been waiting up this whole time?
Yeah? A goat man sends you off into the night. Your life is on the line. And I'm gonna, sleep? What if you were taken prisoner? Kept in a cave by a cyclops, or I don't know, turned into a tree?
That's cute.
I was worried sick.
So, I can't remember if I talked about this myth last time. I feel like I did. But that first one there was an Odyssey reference, kept in a cave by a Cyclops, which of course happened to Odysseus and his men after they stumbled onto the island, found a cave full of cheese and sheep, and ate their fill, intending to pay the owner back when he got home, only the owner was a Cyclops who was like, "Oh, you'll pay me back, 'cause I'm gonna eat you." The Cyclops locked them in there by rolling a giant boulder over the entrance, and eventually they escaped by getting the Cyclops drunk, poking his eye out, and then riding out under the bellies of the sheep so the Cyclops wouldn't catch them by feel. The second one, actually a reference to a myth about Apollo, and maybe a little bit of why I don't trust him. So, I've mentioned before, I know, the laurel wreath that is the symbol of stray gods down there in neon, which is just amazing. I love it. Laurel, or in Greek, Daphne, was a nymph, daughter of a river god, and Apollo was struck by a sudden lust for her and ran after her. She did not approve of his advances, so she ran away. He pursued, and she cried out to her father for help. Her father turned her into a tree, the laurel, which in modern Greek is still Daphne. Or Daphne in English pronunciation. So those are both references to Greek myths, reasonably well-known ones, I think. So of course, Freddie, who encountered Pan, the goat man she was referencing, and has no idea what has been going on after Grace got sent out to deal with some gods around town, because it really just was not safe for a mortal to tag along, probably, has been thinking about the terrible things that happen in Greek mythology. I wonder if turned into a tree, like if we respond with that, will get us the myth. Oh, I didn't mention the best part of the Apollo myth, of course, because having been rejected so thoroughly that she literally turned into a tree, he then cuts a sprig of laurel and makes it his symbol for all eternity. A laurel wreath is the sign of victory in Greece. And so I want to see what asking about that.
That's random.
Yeah, Apollo kept chasing this woman named Daphne, and
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
She has been explicitly thinking about that.
You're back.
I met Apollo tonight, actually.
What? No way. Okay, all right. You have to tell me everything that happened. Huh. Persephone runs a club called the Underworld. That's a little on the nose.
It is.
I
think that's in
saying
fact
that
the
to
words
her
I
face.
used last time.
And you ended up staying with her instead of Apollo? I don't know, Grace. She sounds a little volatile.
That face. She has her reasons.
She has her reasons. I just hope I don't end up on her bad side again.
We'll figure your way out of it. You're still you.
I am still me. That's true.
So what are your options? You need to go back to Persephone at some point?
I could go back to Apollo's as well. Make sure he's not sore about what happened.
That's
Oh,
probably a
and
wise idea.
there's this. Pan left a card. Says, "Come by Olympus." I doubt he means the mountain in Greece.
Oh, good. We have a little card to probably. I think this was the place where we met the idols in the first place. Basically, an office. Yeah, it says the idols live there. So yeah, I think it's like basically a tower block.
That name keeps coming up. The idols live there, or at least most of them do.
Sounds cool. Even if Pan is there.
Freddie and Pan did not get along.
Still not a fan?
You know how some people just set your teeth on edge? That's Pan. I can't help it. But it doesn't matter. I said I'd help, and that's what I'll do. You can count on me, Grace.
Thanks, Freddie.
The muse? Oh, the embodiment of inspiration. Can you believe it?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, so here we have a bunch of options, of course, but I did want to just come back. Olympus, of course, in mythology, the seat of the gods, but Mount Olympus is a real place in Greece, and every year they held the Olympian Games there, and yes, the victors were granted laurel wreaths, among other things. And it's not like they didn't know you could climb to the top of Mount Olympus, although it was considered sacred to Zeus. You weren't supposed to climb to the peak of any mountain lest you tread on Zeus's territory. But you know, you can tell that there's not like a platform up there with a giant mansion. So like it's one thing I just want to emphasize is like it's easy to think of peoples who believed in like the Greek pantheon or the Norse pantheon or whatever as, you know, somehow ignorant and lesser in their faculties than we are today, but that's just not the case. These things are a metaphor, a faith. Just like any religion, it's a part of how they see the world, but that doesn't mean that they take it 100% literally. I mean, I'm sure some people did. Just like some people definitely do now. The word cult does not mean the same thing when you're talking about ancient religions, by the way. Just putting it out there. So, we have 3 options. We can talk to Apollo, talk to Pan, or talk to Persephone. Looks like we're getting a little opinion from Grace herself here. Either we should head to Olympus to talk to Pan or talk to Persephone. I myself would have actually thought that talk to Apollo would be high on the list, but Persephone is probably the one with the plan. And Pan is probably the one with the outside dirt. Any votes? Oh, and for those of you who have joined us today, a little treat. This is not only the Greek pantheon today, but also the Norse. As I mentioned, this is Freya. She loves to join us for game streams and others. Okay. I think I'm going to talk to Pan. I think if Persephone finds out that I talked to Pan first, she'll just roll her eyes, whereas if she finds out I talked to Apollo first, she might be actually annoyed. But I am curious about Olympus.
I'd say hello, Grace, but I'm afraid that look on your face might be catching.
What is this place?
It's a garden, darling. Surely even mortals have them.
This
That's an
building.
olive tree in the
All
middle.
those people I passed getting up here. Are they all idols?
No, at least some of them. Welcome to
Water
Olympus,
lily's not a
dear Grace.
particularly Greek thing.
Our home hidden away in plain sight. Marvelous, isn't it?
The olive tree in the center is really interesting. You know, I mean, it's a symbol of Greece, of course. Olive trees are very common all around the Mediterranean, very important to local agriculture and civilization. The olive tree, the symbol of Athena, and the symbol of the city of Athens and their connection. Athena has been the center of the chorus for some time, we can tell that. She's the one who laid down the rules that they live by, and so seeing her tree at the center is not a surprise. Could be very meaningful, depending. But yeah, olives are very, very important. Olive oil used not just for cooking, but for keeping clean. They would cover themselves in oil and scrape it off with all the dirt. They would, of course, they'd eat olives, they'd press the oil, they'd use the lower quality of oil for lighting lanterns. All kinds of civilization is tied to the olive and to the olive tree, which is not an unfit symbolism even today. If you're walking around Greece and you see a really huge olive tree, sometimes what that means is that there's a ruin underneath the ground there, because the tree likes to spread its roots in cavernous spaces. So, I want to know.
How many idols are there? I've met, less than 12?
12,
Oh,
of
I
course,
don't
being the
know.
number of the main
20,
pantheon,
30.
the Olympians.
Our numbers have dwindled so much I've stopped keeping track.
I
the-
didn't know there were that many gods.
The Greek gods
We're not all
numbered in the
equally
hundreds.
legendary, it's true. Some idols were barely worshipped, others not at all. Indeed, not all of us are idols. Some are merely immortal. Hangers on, if you will. You'll meet them all, given time.
I don't know what that means, but that's interesting to know.
I've passed this part of the city 100 times. I've never seen this building. Was it always here? Or...
Our Lady Hecate provides glamours that allow certain things to go unseen. such as my
Hecate,
glorious
goddess of
halls.
witchcraft, the
Olympus
crossroads.
is the same. Those invited see it. Those who aren't see exactly what they expect. It's not anywhere as grand as in the old country, but it serves its purpose.
I'm interested in how the idols seem to remember, and Grace does not. I wonder if that comes with time, or if they'll explain some other way. But yes, in the Greek mythology, the gods did not all live on Olympus, and were not all equal in any sense. Only the 12 Olympians had their seats there, although the Muses and the Graces were sometimes said to inhabit the slopes of Olympus. Other times, the Muses were particularly associated with Mount Parnassus, or Mount Piraeus. Why do I keep saying Piraeus? That's not right at all. Piraeus is part of Athens. Don't worry about it. In any case, like, it's interesting that Pan remembers so clearly. It's interesting that Pan would talk about these merely immortal. I wonder if he is merely immortal.
I don't know, Pan. Olympus seems pretty grand to me.
Oh, that's the
As
kind of
if
reply he
mortals
likes.
would know any better. This isn't the first time you've been here. I'm sure Hermes took you to Athena's dreary office.
You note the
That's
columns.
here? Huh.
Good one, that Hermes. Almost as dull-witted as the original, but biddable.
So, of course, we see a lot of columns in the Greek style. These appear to be ribbed with a plain top. I'm not quite sure if that's... I'm probably overanalyzing, but I guess that's my job. So I've been recently informed that those are some kind of Tuscan or Etruscan style columns with the plain flat top that just continues upwards. And they're usually used not structurally, but to hold up some kind of railing or to separate rooms. So I guess that makes sense. The Etruscans, for those who have not heard the name before, that's an ancient civilization from mid to northern Italy. Etruscan, I believe, was an Indo-European language, more closely aligned with Greek than Latin, but I could be wrong about that. I really have not spent much time studying them, although I think they're awesome. But they were conquered / absorbed into the Roman Empire fairly early on. And they came from the region that is now known as Tuscany, I believe. Maybe I'll find out
Idols
who
live
doesn't live
here?
here.
I mean, Calliope didn't, obviously. Apollo doesn't either.
One must have special dispensation from Our Lady of Wisdom, Athena, before they can take up a private dung heap like Apollo's.
Am I gonna have to give up my apartment?
That's rather putting the cart before the horse, darling. First, you must outlive the week.
Right. Good point. You asked me to meet you here?
I did. Though I feared you might decline, considering your rather callous rejection.
Was it
earlier.
callous?
Regardless, my pride is intact, as is the favor you owe me, which I now wish to collect.
Oh, this'll be fun.
Oh, sure. I'm totally in a position to help others right now. Lay it on me.
Here's the thing. A friend has begged for my help, and you're far better suited than I to offer what he requires. I'll give you a key to reach the reliquary where he resides.
The
You help
reliquary?
him, and then we're even. If that's not enough incentive, the reliquary is also where you'll find the lovely Hecate.
That
A sorceress of her power
now
could
that
aid your
sounds
quest.
enticing.
What do you say?
This person I'm to help, what does he want? And why can't you do it?
Well, Grace, there are some things you're better equipped to handle than I. This, as I understand it, is a delicate matter of the heart. One that requires a muse's hand.
A matter of the heart.
What, did you think I was sending you to rough someone up? Set something aflame? Don't be absurd. The man has an issue with his love life. Even if you can't help him, I'll treat the effort as worth the favor.
I wonder if it's Eros.
What is this reliquary? Doesn't that have something to do with the bones of saints or something?
Not those relics. Our relics. The relics of ancient gods. Magical treasures collected over thousands of years. Books, mainly. We store them in a faraway place so no one unsavory can get their hands on them.
Unsavory like you?
Unsavory like most. Athena has decreed that these
Aw,
relics
I
are
thought
not
that
to be
would get
used
a
by any
joke out of
save
him.
Hecate and herself. A rather dull waste of so much amassed knowledge and power, but who am I to judge? I'm not leader of the chorus.
I gather you wish you were.
This Hecate. Do you think she could help me?
If she's of a mind. She is the goddess of dark magic, the creator of all our marvelous glamours. If anyone can help you, it is she.
And if she's not of a mind?
Then she won't help you. Grace, that part is up to you. I can't be expected to do everything, can I?
If these relics are off limits, does that mean they're dangerous?
Some, but I'm not asking you to chase after any of that nonsense. In fact, I'd advise against it.
But
His advice has
what if one of
actually
those
been pretty
relics
good
could
so
help
far.
me?
My, such an adventurer you are. It's possible, but ask Hecate first. She, and I mean this with complete and uncharacteristic seriousness, is not an idol you or anyone wishes to cross.
I'll think about it. But no promises.
Marvelous. The gentleman
Oh.
you seek is named Asterion.
Aw.
Lovely fellow, quite harmless.
It's the Minotaur.
I'll send a package to your domicile that contains directions and the
Oh,
key
that's
you'll
so
need to reach the
sweet.
reliquary.
I
said
love
no
it when the
promises.
Minotaur gets included
Well,
in
if
things.
you decide to go, Grace, you'll still need all those things. Say hello to darling Hecate on my behalf, will you?
That was interesting. I'm glad I went. I think I should probably catch up with Persephone, though. I probably don't have infinite time, and she's expecting to see me.
Oh, back already, are you? It's just as well. I've asked around, called in some favors, just enough to get an idea of what all the idols are currently up to. Much as I'm loath to admit it, I'm back to thinking Pan may be our prime suspect after all.
Huh.
Why Pan? I thought you'd rejected him as a suspect.
I did. It doesn't seem like his style. Pan has always preferred scheming over direct confrontation. But the thing is, how did he know about you so quickly? What does he hope to gain by sticking his nose in?
A favor or two, I guess.
Half the idols owe him a favor or two. No, he's up to something else. Until I know what it is, I can't discount the possibility that he's involved in all this.
I actually went to see Pan at Olympus. I guess that wasn't such a great idea?
It depends. What did he want this time?
He asked me to repay the favor I owe him by helping someone at a place called the Reliquary.
A reliquary. Interesting. I wonder what his angle is.
Something to do with Hecate, surely.
What's so interesting about the Reliquary?
It's a magical library of sorts. Who knows why Pan's interested in it? My suggestion? Do as he asks. At the very least, Hecate might prove to be of help to you. If it's
Oh,
written in her bloody book.
Her book?
interesting.
You'll see.
So I'm wondering if
I
they're
wanna send
making
you to
Hecate
party,
into a
Grace,
fate
when
figure
Aphrodite is
here.
holding. She and Eros know Pan perhaps better than anyone. If you go, it'll give you a chance to find out what he's really up to.
Why a party? Couldn't I just go wherever she lives and ask her?
You could, but if you go to this party, she'll be grateful.
Grateful.
She holds it from time to time and always asked Calliope to attend, but Calliope never would. You can put two and two together. A grateful Aphrodite might be willing to tell you what Pan is really up to.
You know Aphrodite better than I do. Can't you talk to her?
She and I don't get along.
Yeah,
Like
that's
how
not
you
surprising.
and Apollo don't get along?
Even more intensely than that. I once said some things about her husband. They were true, but unwelcome. Suffice it to say, if I showed up at Aphrodite's party, revealing Pan's secrets would be the last thing on her mind.
One wild party with a goddess of love coming up.
It's less of a wild party and more of a somber affair.
You mean like a cocktail party?
Let me put it this way. Apollo will likely be there.
Gotcha. Expectations of fun downgraded considerably. I'll let you know what I find.
Well, that was fascinating. So very interesting history of dissonance between Persephone and Aphrodite. Not at all what I expected. Aphrodite was married to the god Hephaestus, the god of skill and craft and fire, metalworking, and machines. And he was disabled from birth. He was born with a clubfoot. Or, depending on the version, he was so ugly at birth that Hera, his mother, Hephaestus was one of the two actual children of Zeus and Hera, the married king and queen of the gods. But one of the versions has Hera throwing him as an infant from Mount Olympus so hard that he becomes slightly deformed, and that's where the clubfoot originates from. The versions are unclear about which came first. There are so many versions of every Greek myth that canon isn't really a thing, but there are threads. In any case, he was incredibly skilled, incredibly clever. There aren't too many myths of him being a terrible person. There are some. There are some about pretty much every Greek god or goddess. I would have thought that Persephone would resent Aphrodite for setting her up with Hades. Who, in this version, Hades kidnapped her unwilling down into the underworld where she became his wife. That is the original version, and I'm interested to see that they kept it here because there is a current trend of revising that to be much gentler in the stories. Of, taking the blame off of Hades and Zeus for allowing that, and redirecting the blame onto Demeter as an overbearing mother, from whom, Persephone gladly escapes in one way or another. And there's nothing wrong with playing around with mythology. Like I said, there are no canon versions. There's only the ones we have and the threads that bind them. But the primary version of that myth that comes down to us, the hymn to Demeter, clearly shows that Persephone was unwilling and uses words that are used to describe rape. So that's what I thought Persephone was going to say about Aphrodite. I was not expecting something about Hephaestus. So, very interesting. I would love to find out what they're doing with that. I don't know if it'll come up again or if that was a side. Aphrodite's party being a somber affair, I almost wonder if they're going to have an Adonia. So the myth of Adonis is one of the sort of quintessential Aphrodite myths, and in particular having to do with Persephone, actually, and why they don't like each other. In most versions of this myth, in Greek anyway, Adonis, well, in all versions, Adonis is the most beautiful man ever to be born. And the goddesses Persephone and Aphrodite both fall in love with him and want to take him and make him their plaything. So he chooses Aphrodite, and in revenge, Persephone sends a boar to kill him. And Aphrodite, forever after, mourns his death, the death of beauty. There's even a flower, which I'm forgetting which one it is right now. Sorry, what? No, it's not the hyacinth. Hyacinth is a different myth. Sorry, I'm blanking on the right flower, but there's a flower that blooms crimson that is supposed to have grown where he lay. But the myth tells us that, well, let me talk about practice, because the Adonia was practiced by women all across Greece, from many different castes in many different cities. And this was a women's celebration. Men were not participating in most Greek cities, as far as we know. It was a nighttime celebration. So the women would plant what they call gardens of Adonis, which were little broken pots, like the top of an amphora, but turned upright and filled with dirt. And they would plant little lettuce seeds in it, because lettuce was apparently the plant in which Aphrodite tried to hide the body from Thanatos, who would come to take him to death, to the underworld. Thanatos being the god of death. Pardon me. It did not work, of course. So the lettuce will not bloom and come all the way to fruition at the time of year that it is planted, and let alone in a tiny little pot. So they were never supposed to come to fruition, as symbolic of how Adonis's life was cut short. And then in the morning, they would take the gardens and form a procession all the way down to the sea, and then throw the pots into the sea. So they would mourn / party all night, and then form a ceremonial procession in the morning and celebrate his rebirth, which was after he had died and he went into the underworld, which was of course ruled by Persephone. Aphrodite complained to Zeus. Zeus came down and said, "Okay, boy, you can spend 1/3 of the year down here, 1/3 of the year with Aphrodite, and the last third you get to pick which one." And he picks Aphrodite. This is a cycle of the seasons myth, which, in my personal theory, comes to be sort of overwritten in Greek mythology. Like, it comes into clash with their myths of Persephone as the cycle of the seasons, of, she ate the 3 pomegranate seeds, so she has to spend 3 months of the year in the underworld, and it is Demeter mourning that causes winter. Whereas in this myth, it is Aphrodite mourning that causes winter. And part of that is because this myth originates actually further to the east than Greece. Aphrodite is widely regarded to have been an import into Greek mythology rather than sort of a proto-Greek myth. And her story is parallel to the dying god myth. That term I think might be outdated now, but I'm not really sure what has replaced it, I'm sorry. Much as I want to be an ancient Near East scholar, I'm still learning. But Ishtar and or Astarte and her lover Dumuzi, or Tammuz, I think is the other name, have this cycle where actually it's the goddess who dies and her lover goes down to replace her. But the processions, the celebrations are very similar. Anyway, it's if we're looking at a somber party of Aphrodite, this is what I'm thinking. I could be totally off. But, ask me to talk about Greek mythology, and I will. Well, I want to head to the reliquary. I think that will be interesting. It's in a storage crate. What does that graffiti say?
When I opened that shipping container, I was expecting, I don't know, rats.
Yeah.
Instead we have... Where the hell are we?
It's
Hell
hard to
might
say.
be accurate.
Weren't we going to some kind of library?
Well, couple of things. I didn't quite get to read all of the graffiti on the side of that crate, but it looked like it said Dinetessa something. Dine is terrible, like in dinosaur, terrible lizard. So who knows? So inside, this appears to be winter. I think we might be at a crossroads, which would be good for the realm of Hecate. As I said, she is goddess of the crossroads, of witchcraft. They called it here dark magic. It had that connotation sometimes, like not in the period that people think of as like classical Greece. Although she was certainly the goddess that you called upon for curses. But she's an older chthonic god, chthonic meaning related to the underworld, so Hecate and Persephone probably know each other quite well. Why it appears to be winter here, I'm not really sure, except that chthonic things for Greece are associated with the 3 months of winter. The tower does look very sort of Grecian, especially like closer to like Library of Alexandria period, like in the 200s. But we'll see.
Yeah, Pan said there would be books. You like books, right?
I do like books.
See, there you go. Apparently this reliquary place has all the books you could ever dream of.
A reliquary? Ooh, I bet it has relics. I want a wand of fireballs.
You are such a nerd.
Looks like a D&D
Speaking of-
reference.
How much do you actually know about Hecate and this idol you're supposed to help?
She also seems to know a little bit more about Greek mythology than we do.
Do you know anything about this Hecate? It's not a name that rings bells.
Let's see. Well, she was the goddess of witchcraft, the really dark kind.
Oh.
But she's never really portrayed as evil. She was more of an outsider, lived alone, off in her little corner.
This
of
does
the
very much
underworld.
remind me of the Lighthouse
Do
of
you think that's what we
Alexandria
could
with that
be?
flame up
Oh,
there.
that is so cool. Oh, I bet knowledge is important to her. It could be an angle if you talk to her.
I like that archway behind them, the freestanding columns, which have, as you can see, a more elaborate top. And yeah, I like
so
that.
glad I brought you, Freddy. I wouldn't know the first thing about any of this.
Nah. Well, I hope it's actually helpful to tell you these things.
Why wouldn't it be?
Because it could all be wrong. I would have never pegged Apollo for a surfer dude with confidence issues.
That's fair.
Yeah, good point. The idol we're here to help is named
Wonder if
Asterion.
she knows who
And-
Asterion is.
You know who that is, right?
Oh, she does.
No. Should I?
That's the Minotaur's real name. You know, big bullhead, horns, lives in a giant labyrinth.
Pan did not mention that.
Why am I not surprised?
So, the myth of the Minotaur, just to go over it in a little more detail, we'll see what we see here. What started this? I feel like the king of Minos. So Minos, the city on Crete. The king and queen, they must have boasted that, like, she was more beautiful than Aphrodite or some nonsense like that. I can't quite remember what the inciting incident was. It's usually something like that. But the queen, Pasiphae, is cursed to fall in love, in lust, in particular, with a bull stud, an animal. And she has the inventor Daedalus build her a cow suit so that she can have what she wants, which is gross for a number of reasons. But unlike what would happen if that were to really exist, she gives birth to a bull-headed child, a bull-headed human child, names him Asterion. So he is the Minotaur. Rather than raising him, they put him in a labyrinth so he can't get out, and they leave offerings to appease him under the palace. Now, in that time, the city of Athens was conquered by Minos at some point and forced to pay tribute, and the tribute that they had to send was 12 young men and 12 young women to be sent into the labyrinth to die. And so the king of Athens' son, Theseus, decides to go in and kill the Minotaur. He convinces the princess of Minos, Ariadne, to fall in love with him, and she gives him a trick, a ball of yarn, also known as a clue, which is actually where we get the word, which he then unrolls behind him to show him the way back out, because the real danger of the maze, of course, is getting lost in it. So he goes in, he kills the Minotaur, he follows his clue back out, and the king of Minos is not happy with him, so he brings Ariadne with him and sails back home to Greece. I'm not going to get into the many, many, many foibles of Theseus, just know that he is my second least favorite Greek hero of all time. Some people say he is the worst. Personally, I think Jason is the worst, but Ariadne has her happy ending. It is not with Theseus, and Theseus goes on to live far longer than he should, and ruin more lives. Anyway.
This Minotaur. You don't think he might be dangerous, do you?
Of course he's
Well,
dangerous. All of these
traditionally
people are.
he eats people, but he was also supposed to have been slain by the hero Theseus.
Well, not so slain after all. Pan says he has a problem with his love life.
Maybe he needs to stop eating all his girlfriends? Okay, I knew that sounded wrong at the moment I said it.
Good. I'm glad they went for the joke, because I would have had to say it.
We should go inside instead of standing out here in the fog.
It's more of a mist, really.
A mist potentially full of monsters.
In we go, then. Are you really planning on doing that favor for Pan?
Meddle in love lives? Sweet Talk, the goddess of witchcraft? Freddy, who are you dealing with?
The master meddler and sweet talker.
Damn straight.
I look forward to seeing you in operation. There's no way at all this could go poorly.
Oh, don't even say that as a joke, Freddy. Ooh. Hello, Hecate. This is so cool. Hey, Minotaur.
I guess the Titan thing is literal, huh?
Mortals within the reliquary. Who permits this intrusion, this sacrilege? This knowledge is not meant for the likes of you. I shall grind you into the dust from whence you came!
I love her.
I am really sorry if we startled you. My name is Grace. We've never met before, but, I'm the new muse.
And I'm Freddy. Big fan.
If I broke a rule, I apologize. Pan didn't mention anything about that, I'm afraid.
You are Grace?
Interesting. Ooh.
Then Calliope is dead. Is that now? I thought that was not for another 11 months yet.
So, I do believe that we are taking a leaf out of the Gaiman universe here. She seems to have a book of fate. In Greek mythology, the Fates were three sisters who wove and spun and cut the threads of lives. But in Neil Gaiman's Sandman, Destiny is a character who has a book where all things are written, and deviating is not actually possible. So, I think we're probably somewhere in between here, especially given
Wait, what?
the intro.
You knew Calliope was going to die?
No, I am not informed of this for another 11 months and 3 days.
Or I could just tell you now?
That cannot be. It is written.
She appears to have the three heads of Cerberus
Yes,
on
it's
her
right here.
collar.
Calliope joins Grace's band. They become friends. Months later, there is an automobile accident.
Apparently,
and
she doesn't
An
spend
accident?
much time
That's
out
not
in
what
the world.
happened.
Are you saying the books are wrong?
Oh no, I'm wrong. Those aren't dog heads. Those looked like screaming women. I bet that's the Furies. The vengeful spirits of the underworld.
They're wrong about this. Calliope was murdered just a few days ago.
That is impossible.
I don't know what to tell you.
You will explain. We will both sit and you will explain. There will be tea.
I like her.
Curious. It is clear something unanticipated has occurred, something outside the realm of fate.
Is that even possible?
It is, but I must follow the threads back to their source to find the origin of the deviation. It may take years of research.
Years! I don't have years.
That is unfortunate. If there is nothing else, I must ask you both to leave so I may begin at once.
Is there no way to speed that up? Whoever's behind it might be the murderer.
Such threads are not so easily untangled.
Okay, so
I must consult the Moirai.
the
if
Moirai
indeed they
are the
not ones
Fates.
responsible.
That's the Greek
the
word
Moi
for
what?
fate.
You might know them as the Fates. They, or any beings of a sufficiently cosmic nature, have the power to undo the order of things.
Sufficiently cosmic
Does not
nature.
sound good.
Certainly not. They are also not beings I can summon at a whim to solve your mystery. I am sorry.
Actually, I came here to speak to Asterion. If, he is here.
A visitor for Asterion. How strange.
And there he is.
Oh, are we doing guests? Is that a thing? I didn't know.
Wow, okay.
Precious.
Betty was right.
As if there was any doubt.
My old friend, this is Grace. She is our muse
Oh,
from the
the
line
carpet
of
is a
Calliope, and it
labyrinth.
is she who asked for you.
A traditional labyrinth.
I'm here on behalf of Pan. He owes you a favor? Something to do with...
No, Pan. Nah, never heard of him.
Asterion, of course you know Pan.
No, no idea what he'd want. No, sir, no favours. Nah, not this Minotaur.
There you have it, Grace. I believe now is the time when you leave.
But there must be some mistake.
There is no mistake. Not this time.
Are you sure about that? Because
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
going.
Oddly rude.
It is written.
Did you hear that? Pan sends me all this way and Asterion won't even talk to us?
Maybe there's another Asterion?
Yeah, more likely Pan's got me chasing my tail. This was pointless.
Well, I don't think we're getting back inside. Do you have another plan?
I think it's time.
I don't know if my powers will even work on Hecate, but it's worth a shot.
Ooh, a musical number. Do you think this one could be... do you hear what I'm hearing?
Oh, you still here? I had to run the entire... that's a long way, innit? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to send you away, alright? I just couldn't tell you, not in front of Kate.
Aww.
Maybe now you can tell me what this big favor is.
Come on, isn't it obvious?
I heard what you said about Calliope. I can help you. I really, really can. It has to be you. I am so in love with my dear sweet Kate. I just don't know how to tell her. Please, help me tell her.
Let me get this straight. You're in love with Hecate.
Everything
That
about this is
Hecate.
perfect. I love it
mate,
so much.
Kate is... She's just the best. Like, she knows everything and she always smells so good. Like, she's so nice to me and she doesn't even have to be. Oh, we got stuck in the tower together because we can't live in the mortal world. I know I could make her happy. Well, I want to try. Won't you help me?
Have you tried, I don't know, talking to her about how you feel? I take that as a no.
I don't have the words. I've tried. Every time I end up knocking over a table or killing a cat or talking about how sometimes meat has that grisly
Okay,
texture I
a
don't
little
like.
bit
You killed her cat?
less perfect.
Oh, no.
It was a small cat. I panicked. I'm just not good at words. Right? Really not good.
Are you really the Minotaur? Like, the monster who roamed a maze and ate people?
And is supposed to be dead.
Well, my father locked me up in a labyrinth, but I never ate anyone.
Oh. Well, that's good.
Except Theseus. But he was a bellend.
Agreed. Agreed. I like this guy. Except for the cat killing. That's not okay. We do not endorse any feline deaths.
Do you really call Hecate Kate? Off topic, I know, but I have to ask.
Sometimes she has to go into the mortal world for a short time and do things for Athena.
Uh-huh. And...
Well, she had to make up a magic disguise, a new identity. And I thought she should
So
give it
cute.
a proper name.
And you suggested Kate?
Yeah, she really liked it. She said, "Thank you, Asterion."
Okay, so you're in love with Hecate. What is it you think I can do?
A muse knows about poetry and the heart and how to make words beautiful. All I want is to ask her, but I need good words. Please say you'll help me.
That seems like the most
Hecate might
important.
say no. You know that, right?
She probably will.
I mean, she's Kate. And I'm me. But just once, I'd like to be able to ask her, to say it out loud instead of thinking it.
As long as he knows.
I'll still help you. No matter what she says. I promise.
Okay.
I do this and you'll help me in return, right?
Athena made Kate swear. She's not allowed to say anything about what happens at the tower. But she never made me swear. Maybe she never thought anyone would ask. But I'll tell you. Even if Kate doesn't like it, I'll tell you.
If I do this first.
If you help me, any trouble will be worth it.
Okay. I have an idea.
You do? Well, you do?
You, my bullish friend, are gonna sing your little heart out.
It's time
Grace
for a
always
song.
has the best ideas.
I'll set up a vibe and you go for it.
I'm not great at words. I'm more of a dancer.
Just speak from the heart. Be honest.
You can do it.
It's not like she doesn't know they're there.
You cast a spell on me. Not literally, obviously. But I feel in summary, you and me are meant to be. 'Cause you put a hex on me. You didn't do it to me directly. I'm not blaming you specifically, just that metaphorically. Shit, can someone help me?
It's okay. Okay, what are some of the things you love about her?
Aw. We're back to the auditorium from the beginning.
Hecate, with you there's so much to love. Oh, I'm not saying you're fat.
Oh.
Did not just say that.
Okay, hold on.
Tell her something she doesn't know about herself.
Oh, Katie, to me, you know you in rapture
Ooh, good word.
is your pallid skin. Your lips are so thin. Your love of books.
Asterian, I have but one thought. Why is it that you seem so distraught? Are you saying you're in love with me? You couldn't possibly. Really? Oh, you're doing great. Give it another go.
You've cast a spell on me. It's a feeling that's killing me. But let's say categorically, oh Katie, it's just you and me.
I cannot hide from my reality. I can't help but think it's best that you forget me. I feel so little joy. My want is to destroy. You will come to resent me. I'm truly fond of you. Yet now it appears that you love me. How can you be so sure? What is my allure? Tears are near certain.
I could never make you cry.
It's not my tears I fear. What if I lose you?
Couldn't. Oh, I feel so powerless.
Let me be crystal clear. Do you believe this love of yours shall persevere? Despite all it won't face, it won't disappear. My virtues are few, and if we see this through, the pain that we share may be too severe.
Oh, of course she sings my song better than I do. Help me!
Stand back, there's nothing to see. Everyone move along. It's a core crash of a song.
But you're wrong, make no apology. See, she hasn't disappeared. She is standing right here.
I know when I stand next to you, I don't feel like such a freak. I know you feel that way too. You're not like other gods. My love, what are the odds that we're here? Us outsiders should cheer that we found each other.
Why didn't you open with that?
Oh, was that good? Kate, will you dance with me? Oh, never mind. You know, this isn't the first time I've pretended to dance with you.
Yes, twirl!
Who thought a ball could live under a shell? I don't need your answer, you know me too well. This love is my truth, and I know in my soul that the magic in here is beyond our control.
It's true, there's a part of me that yearns for more. If I had my pick, it'd be you I adore. Not all is written, powers greater than fate give meaning to what the world puts on our
Ready
plate.
is he.
Yet, even so, this could all go astray.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
He's bared his soul, so what's the debate? Will you let him in before it's too late? Asterion,
Kate?
it seems you've cast a spell on me.
You will not regret this.
Not yet. It is written. You've cast a spell on me. To think I shall have my own story. You've cast a spell on me. And we shall write it together. You've cast a spell on me. A tale of romance and glory. You've cast a spell on me. But do we have enough leather? You've cast a spell on me.
Okay, that
Wow,
was adorable.
diverting. You felt this way the entire time, Asterion, and you said nothing?
I didn't think I was worthy. I mean, look at me. I'm only, half a man.
You have been a devoted friend over the long and lonely years, Asterion. I only wish I had realized sooner we could have been more. As for you, Grace, I thank you for arranging this diversion, however it came to pass.
I don't get it. Didn't you know this would happen? Wasn't it written?
Of course it was. It was also written that I would be unaware of Asterion's feelings until he spoke them to me.
But you knew that.
I follow the rules. It is written.
I'm glad to see someone happy, finally.
That would be me.
I am also not displeased by this course of events.
Wow, look at you. Living a wild
That's
life.
very. I don't
Come,
hate you
Asterion,
too.
I wish to speak of this further, and find an appropriate outfit.
Hey, wait for me outside, yeah?
How long are we supposed to wait? It's been over an hour.
I'm sure
She
it's
did
fine,
want to
Grace.
know how
I doubt
much
the
leather
Minotaur
they
will break his
had.
promise. Saying, what I tell you.
Whew! You still here? I'm sorry. Kate had a lot to say.
Everything's okay, I hope?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was so wonderful. Kate just wanted to talk about feelings and that, which, well, neither of us are good at. Right, so, I suppose you want to know how Calliope broke into the reliquary that night.
She did what?
No, we didn't know anything about that. Do you mean the night she died?
Oh, well, I thought you already knew. Yeah, The night Calliope died, she broke in somehow. Thing is, we know she didn't take anything or even touch anything. I just remember the alarms, and I chased after her.
How do you know Calliope didn't touch or take anything?
Kate knows everything in the reliquary, right down to the last book. She's been looking, but she can't figure if anything was touched. It makes her so mad not to know. And it made Athena pretty mad too.
Athena got involved?
Yeah, when Kate finally told her, Athena wants Kate to keep investigating, but it doesn't look good.
Athena knows what happened here the night Calliope died?
Yeah, Kate told her a day or so later, I think. We didn't know Calliope died that night, though.
What? Athena didn't mention it?
Nope. Not that that's weird. She's not the chatty type, you know. She came in all quiet and cool, wanted to know who was here that night and what Calliope might have wanted. She swore Kate to silence. Not me, though. Guess she's not as smart as Kate.
You chased Calliope, but did you ever catch up with her?
No. If I'd have caught her, I'd have brought her back and Kate would have gotten answers out of her. All I know is that she was hurt, bleeding bad, but I don't know why. I wanted to help her, but she got away in the fog. Then I ran into Medusa.
Wait, what? Medusa? Here?
Yeah. Well, she's not normally here. I think maybe she was chasing after Calliope too.
What was Medusa doing here?
She was chasing after Calliope too, I think, but she wouldn't say why. I asked.
Well,
she never
guess
got
we need
into
to
the
talk to
reliquary
Medusa.
though. She was just out here in the fog.
Couldn't Medusa have broken in like Calliope did?
Yeah, but I chased Calliope from the reliquary. If Medusa had been there, I would have seen her.
How could Calliope have been wounded?
It couldn't have been Medusa, like I said. She never got close.
Interesting.
But Calliope was wounded inside the reliquary?
That's where the blood was. We don't have anything that would attack anyone, though.
So someone else. But they did it inside the reliquary.
If so, they vanished after.
Did you say the reliquary has alarms? Like burglar alarms, cameras?
Oh, no, nothing like that. It just has a lot of protections. You know, magic.
I don't know magic, actually.
Oh, it's just meant to keep the dangerous stuff from being touched. It was set off, so something happened in the reliquary. We just, don't know what exactly.
Those alarms don't go off if someone breaks into the reliquary? They don't detect intruders?
Well, normally nobody does that.
Calliope did. Someone else could have.
Yeah, but the alarms are just to protect all the books and relics. That's it. Whatever Calliope did here, it was enough to set off the alarms. That's all I know.
What relics are there? Maybe Calliope was looking for one, but couldn't find it before...
Yeah, that I'm not supposed to say.
Do you have the golden fleece, the shield of Zeus, the sword of Damocles? Is it suspended?
You know a lot about that stuff for a mortal.
So it's all real?
I can neither confirm nor deny any of that. All I know is that nothing got used and nothing got taken.
Okay, so, what did she mention? She mentioned the golden fleece. That was, the magical golden sheep that carried, I always forget his name. I get it mixed up with Ixion. I'm actually going to try and look it up. Yeah. Oh. So there was a city called Orchomenos. and its king basically decided... Oh, Phrixos, that's her name. So its king decided that he wanted to remarry and have new heirs, and so the previous queen prayed for help. The golden ram, which I think is in many versions a son of Poseidon, but that I can't think of any before Ovid, so I'm not totally sure of that. Anyway, the kids were named Phrixos and Helle. Helle being the name for Greece, and the sheep carried them away before they could be slaughtered. Much later, its fleece, post-ram, was a much beloved artifact in the court of the king of... wow, I'm just really having a terrible time with names today. Colchis, thank you. Which is over on the far edge of the Black Sea from Greece, and it was the thing that Jason was sent to go collect. So, it was a very precious artifact. What was the second thing Freddie asked about? The Shield of Zeus. Shield of Zeus is not one that's commonly talked about. I can't really think of anything in particular to do with his shield, but Hephaestus makes a lot of fabulous shields that are usually incredibly detailed, with scenes of the battles of the gods or of glory and heroes. The shield of Achilles and the shield of Heracles are both described in great detail, as, you know, basically they're so realistic that the people seem to be moving and breathing and fighting. Sorry? Oh, yeah, I suppose some versions, the Aegis that Zeus passes on to Athena is referred to as a shield, so that could be. I think I talked about the Aegis back in the first stream of this game, where I was talking about Athena's appearance. She wears sort of a mantle that I believe is more commonly what we think the Aegis was, a mantle of some kind, or a shawl. It's often depicted that way. The grand statue of Athena that once stood in the temple on the Acropolis had a giant shawl edged with snakes, which are a symbol of like scientific and medical knowledge, so associated with Athena, as well as Hermes and Asclepius. And then the Sword of Damocles is completely off the wall, which I love. So the Sword of Damocles, you've probably heard the metaphor of, you know, the Sword of Damocles hanging over your head, of like something's about to happen. It's suspended by a thread, which could break at any second and kill you. But that metaphor was made up by a Greek named Damocles. And so much less mythological, much more theoretical. So very funny. Also, Freddy is me.
Calliope came here the night she died. This is where she was attacked.
But we don't know by whom.
We know Medusa was here. She might even have been involved.
She's super scary, but you know she works for Athena, right?
Not surprised.
I thought maybe that's why she was here, but Athena said she didn't know about it.
That does seem suspicious.
If that's all you need, then I have to go. Kate will be so mad if she finds me gone. Good luck, Muse.
You okay there, friendo?
Friendo.
I'm just thinking about Calliope. What happened to her here? Whatever she was trying to do, she probably didn't succeed. She ran from here, dying, maybe straight to our apartment.
Because you were her last hope.
Yeah. What if she hadn't made it? She must have known.
One thing at a time, Grace. You'll figure it out. I know you will.
I
I
guess
have
so.
my theories, of course.
Next thing is to go back to Pan. Tell him his favor is done.
What an adventure.
Sorry?
You're just lucky, Grace. Luckier than you think. You go do what you have to, and I'll meet you back at the apartment. Okay?
Oh my gosh. What is Freddy off to do? I want to know. Uh-oh.
Pan,
I guess we don't
I
end
hope
there.
you're here, because I don't know where else to look for you.
Of course I'm here, Grace. Where else would I be but amongst the trees and the wild things?
What is this
I
book
really
he's
must
reading?
thank you, by the by. Asterion is simply over the moon, and he's already repaid me with this select tome from the reliquary.
Well, there's his angle.
That's why you did all this? Because you wanted some book?
Not just some book, but a tome from the forbidden depths.
I doubt Hecate would be pleased.
Oh, most assuredly not. Neither would Athena, which makes it all the more delicious. I trust you got what you needed. More grist for the mill of your innocence, as it were.
It's quite the coincidence. The place you sent me just happens to be the place Calliope was attacked.
That is quite the coincidence. You must be very grateful.
It's just hard to trust a coincidence that big.
You have no reason to be suspicious. I know nothing of what happened to Calliope at the reliquary. I suppose the question at the heart of this is, do you believe me?
Interesting. My instinct was I'm trying to, but I could flirt with him, and that's fun. Let's do that. No, come on, let me do it.
You're enjoying this, aren't you? This tit for tat, back and forth.
I'll enjoy it if you're enjoying it.
Well, I'm not enjoying it.
Oh my, aren't you a delight? Even if you haven't answered the question.
Oops, sorry.
And I never shall. If you're looking for innocence, however, well, I'm afraid that's one thing I cannot provide.
I love him.
What if I discover you're lying to me after all?
You'll do what you do, and I'll do what I do, and we'll see where that takes us.
I hope it's somewhere good. Somewhere I'm not on trial.
Oh, my. You do know how to spoil the mood, don't you?
Yes.
If I can make a suggestion, live the high life. Throw caution to the wind.
That's your suggestion?
And why not? It's the same as when I first met you, Grace. You can enjoy being an idol. Simply follow my lead.
Like the little exclamation marks. Oh, this is a really good place to stop, but I also really want to see where this goes.
Why not?
See now, this is why I like you. Such a sense of the inappropriate. It is an ugly business living among the gods. You'll always twist and on, even if you're trying not to. And so I say, let's do it. The world, it needs that guy who is prepared to move the pieces in from every side. All of the world's on the edge of a knife, so I choose partying. There's no need for strife. So dance, little Gracie, come, won't you dance? Only so much of your life's in your hands. Haven't I helped you? The rest is chance. So come on, let's have this dance. So what, the call was close. We're both alive and well. We'll live to fight another day, as far as I can tell. And even if you don't, and I expect you won't, I promise you'll be glad you spent the night with me. So dance, little Gracie, come, won't you dance? Only so much of your life's in your hands. Haven't I helped you? The rest is chance. So come on, let's have this dance.
I'm such a fool. I believed I meant more to you. Guess all I am is a piece, a pawn, and you won't care when I'm gone.
Don't be like that, Grace. We both know this is who I am. I can't change, so take it or leave it. I won't repeat it. I'm only here for the dance.
You don't have any hope for me, do you? You're just taking what you can get before it's over.
I've seen this story many times, Grace. I've told this story many times. And it always ends the same way.
I like how his eyes are
You're
actually
hoping to
slit
find
sideways
Medusa,
like a ghost.
I expect.
A goat's.
Changing the subject. And how do you even know about that?
I'm just trying to be helpful, Grace.
I mean,
way.
Asterion did send him a note. That's
You'll
not...
find Medusa at a dingy little club appropriately named the Viper's Nest. Give her my regards. But do be careful if you call on her, Grace. Medusa is a
Interesting.
hideous monster and should be treated as such.
All right. Well, that is going to have to be where we end for the day. I do want to just end by talking a little bit about the Medusa myth. So, Medusa was one of 3 Gorgons. In some versions, she's born that way. In others, she was actually a beautiful young human who was raped by Poseidon and rejected him thereafter and was cursed by him into that form. And from then on, her gaze made men into stone and her hair was made of snakes. She's something of a tragic figure, really. So it's interesting to see her regarded as a hideous monster, and don't forget it. The other end of the Medusa story, of course, is when she was slain by the hero Perseus by the help of Athena. You can't look at Medusa directly, so no hero had been able to kill her, but he was given a mirrored shield so that he could fight backwards. Once he beheaded her, he put her onto the shield, and his shield then had her power to turn enemies to stone. That shield was then taken by Athena and is a symbol of her power forever after. And as I was talking about the snaky Aegis that she's often depicted with, she's also generally depicted with a Gorgon-headed shield. So it's not a surprise that she serves Athena. It'll be interesting to see where they're going with that myth, though. Until next time, next Saturday, keep learning, friends.